about Packers and NFL draft the closer we get to that. Good Sunday morning. How you guys doing? I am Kendrick, the sports guy with Kendrick Sports Hustle, as well as TFG Sports Media. I hope you all are having a great weekend, and we got a special show for you today. This is Women History Month, and I said, why not talk about the WNBA? And because it is coming off of one of its best seasons in 25 years, as far as attendance, viewership, and just the hype and the popularity. So I got a special guest that's going to join me. We'll talk about that. But before we get to that, you know the house rules. When you come in the club, Kendrick, you got to make sure you comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Like, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That is Kendrick Sports Hustle, SporTZ, HUSTLE. Make sure you follow it on Facebook as well. And make sure you subscribe and like TFG Sports Media as well. I am also live on TikTok right now at Kendrick Henderson 51. If you are there, make sure what's up, Jersey? I see you, drunken guys. Appreciate you. If you're over there, you can check me out on TikTok as well. I kind of go live simultaneously, as I should say. But I got a special guest. Without further ado, I'm going to bring him in, and I'm kind of going to let him set the stage. I got my good brother, Corey X. Harrison from Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. Corey, I think your mic is muted, but I think you just unmuted it. Good Sunday, brother. How you doing? You there, Corey? I see you. Can you hear me, Corey?
Yes, I can hear you.
There we go. What's happening, brother? How you doing this Sunday morning?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad you could join me on today. I'm kind of going to let the folks know who you are. Well, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and kind of tell us your background when it comes to sports.
Oh, man. Well, I met Kendrick in the gym not too long ago, a couple years back, and I noticed that you was into the broadcasting game, and we was kind of talking about that a little bit in your history and that, and I was telling you about, you know, how my journey started and how I was trying to get into the business and things like that, and really, honestly, I just been kind of inspired by some of the things that you've been doing on your platform, and it just really just kept me, kept moving forward and expanding my horizons when it comes to like women's basketball, sports and stuff in general. And just, just seeing you pave that way forward, it just really inspired me to do a lot more than what I was doing when you first met me.
I appreciate that, Corey. I did not know I had that type of inspiration, but I am glad I did because, yeah, we did meet in the DFW and we talked sports. And I know you was heavy in the WNBA. And basically, today's show is Women History Month. March is Women History Month. And I wanted to focus on the WNBA. And I said, there's one guy I know that knows the WNBA. And I said, I want to have my good brother, Corey X. Harrison, on with me because you still are kind of like a correspondent for the Las Vegas Aces. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. And the Dallas Wings as well.
And the Dallas Wings. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. That's where we're going to start. Again, make sure you come in, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Again, Kendrick Sports Hustle. All right, Corey, I just want to get your take. WNBA is coming off one of the best, the probably best season since its inception. Viewership was up. Attendance was up. Just the overall popularity is up for the WNBA. I want to get your thoughts on last season and what did you think about the game itself?
Last season was pretty much a whirlwind. I mean, it was my rookie season when it came to like actually covering games live with teams, and it was an experience in itself. Just being able to be around the atmosphere and seeing how those ladies actually compete. I mean, it's rivaling the NBA for sure. With people not really understanding what's really coming down the pipe with the WNBA expanding and its growth, and and then this coming season being that they're going to increase the games, having more national broadcast games. WNBA is definitely coming, and its popularity is definitely soaring by the day. Just seeing how more people are more interested in it. More athletes are coming into the draft that are more skilled and things like that. I mean, if you're not watching the WNBA, I don't know what you're doing. I know a lot of people are just locked into the NBA, and it's been, the NBA has been a staple But I actually watched more WNBA games last year than NBA games, and which is crazy
Wow.
because I'm a NBA fanatic. I
Right.
love basketball, but WNBA has captivated my heart and attention these last couple years.
What obviously I think we know what probably drove the popularity up. It's no secret. We know Caitlin Clark. We know the phenomenon that she was at the college level. That drove a lot of people to the game, as well as Angel Reese, because they both brought somewhat of a rivalry. If those that may not want to think there was, it kind of puts you in the mind of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird when they first came into the NBA. How much of an impact did Caitlin Clark have on the WNBA and its popularity soaring?
She had a tremendous impact. The WNBA was already on its trajectory, already to where it is now, but obviously she when she entered into the WNBA, it definitely took it to another level. Um, Me personally, I was already a fan, from a couple seasons before, and I already knew where it was going just because of how competitive it was and how interesting it was getting. But just adding her and Angel into the mix, it just took it to a different level faster. It was already heading there. It was just basically it it was bus riding through there, but now it didn't took a sports car through there, and now it's soaring fast at 100 and some miles per hour.
Right, right, and again, because we got a lot of naysayers, and I'm speaking mostly to the men, because I'm in a bunch of sports groups, and a lot of the men think that this is a fad right now. They think, yeah, the WNBA it had a lot of eyeballs on it, but they don't think it can be sustained. And I think it's here to stay. Obviously, they're going to need financial support. What do you see? Where do you see the WNBA going from here? What do
Uh,
they need to do to keep the interest, the popularity? What do you think they need to do?
Well, I think they're already doing a great thing by expanding it and growing it and increasing games, increasing national broadcasts, the
Hmm.
Commissioner Cup, just keeping it, fresh, keeping
Right.
people engaged and things like that. And when you speak to some of the men or kind of talking about certain things or whatever, you have to really check and see exactly who you're talking to and exactly what type of men you're talking to whenever you're speaking to them, because it's almost like they're reluctant to do it just because they're women. It's some misogyny going on there, it seems like. And I
Hmm.
think that it's sad that we're still looking at it like that, because I was one of those ones that didn't want to watch WNBA games because the NBA was king, obviously,
Right.
because
Right.
athletes that were in there, the big names and things like that, the skill level, the skill gap is just different. But if you just take
Yeah.
your time and just really, really sit there and just watch a game of basketball, and you say you're a fan of basketball, you wouldn't have a problem watching it. And once you just do, start
Hmm.
learning the
Yeah.
teams, learning the players and things like that, then the education piece
Hmm.
comes in, and then you're gonna be more interested or apt to watch it. Just grab a team, watch them and whatever, find your player that you
Right.
like,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing this now, Corey. I think, and I can honestly say this: I think I'm more interested, and I'm watching the men's tournament as far as the NCAA, but I think I'm more interested on the women's side, because I think the women's side at the NCAA level is a little bit more competitive. I think there you I know more of the women's college players than I know men. Would you agree with that? Would you say you do as well?
Um, I would say that too as well, because I mean, just because I've been so interested in learning more about the women's side, I've been really educating myself, because I've never told this story before. But
Uh-huh.
when I first started doing WNBA, and I had a good friend of mine that was telling me to urging me to get into it. He said, "Man, you really talk basketball. You really have a great basketball mind, and that you understand the game of basketball. You should just give it a try because it's untapped." And I was like, "Okay, well, let me just try to just get in on some of the Zoom calls, because this is around COVID, and they were still doing a lot of the Zoom calls and things like that." So I got in there on the Zoom, and I
Mhm.
started asking questions about the upcoming draft and things like that, and I was asking about one question I asked one player or whatever, and she was with the Sparks at the time, and it was their media day, and I was asking how did she navigate through the complexity of the WNBA bubble and what
Right.
they call it the wubble at the time. And so I was asking that question, and she had kind of eloquently told me that she was a rookie and she wasn't even a part of that. And it was like
Okay.
I just exited it out the entire interview.
Ah,
I was like,
yeah.
man, you know what?
Okay.
Let me educate myself first before I do this again.
Right, right. And see, but you humbled yourself too. So you was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta make sure I'm on top of my game. And that happens, man. Some of the you've been in this game long enough where you've heard questions that come from media members be like, what kind of question is that to ask? Did you even do your homework? We've seen that before. And but I could tell, man, that you definitely have come a long way. And I've been seeing, I've watched some of the stuff you posted with your sound, your post game press conferences and all that. And you definitely are on top of the coverage. I want to ask you this: who are some of the players at the WNBA that we should be hearing more about, but they're maybe not known just because of maybe the market that they're playing in? Who are some of the WNBA players that are really good that we really don't know about?
I would say, since I covered the Dallas Wings, I'm very biased to these two teams. I cover the Aces and
Right.
the Wings.
Mm-hmm.
I would let's start with Arike Agumawale. If you're
Yes.
looking for
Yes.
a player that kind of mirrors Kyrie Irving, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
mouthful to say. Her handles, she can get to the rim, she can facilitate the ball. Her usage rate is very high. She takes a lot of shots, and sometimes she can shoot them out of the game here and there. But she is just a dynamic player, and just what
Mm-hmm.
she's able to do, she can light up the scoreboard quick. And I would urge people to really really watch Dallas Wings basketball this season, just because they've added a lot of fresh new faces. I think that they're trying to compete. They only won 9 games last year, so it's going to be difficult to kind of get fans back on board with them, just because it was a very very rough season. I did see that they're going to have a couple games at the AAC when they play Indiana. That's going to be pretty cool. Being able to go to those games and be in an NBA
Mm-hmm.
arena, because they're playing in a college right now. They're playing over there in Arlington at the college. So it's kind of small. So having that
Yeah.
aspect and being able to play in that the actual NBA arena is going to be pretty cool. We seen the Aces do it last year. I went to T-Mobile Arena when they played Indiana as well. So the popularity is there because they're making they're doing these bigger venues because more fans are coming out. So I think that's a good idea that they're doing that, and I think it's great for the WNBA as a whole to be able to showcase their product on a national level like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So now let's get to the elephant in the room. We're gonna talk about your Cowboys after this because I know you got a lot to say. I ain't gonna mess with you. I will be legit. I ain't gonna give you the business, as we say. Let's talk about something I heard on Angel Reese's Unapologetically Angel podcast about 2 weeks ago. She and Dejanay Carrington were on there. I believe Dejanay is a Dallas Wings now, isn't she? Is
Yeah,
she
she's
is she
one of
with the
those
Dallas? Yeah,
acquisitions that they made.
yeah.
I think that's gonna be a good pickup as well.
Yeah, well, they were talking, and the CBA, the women's CBA contract is going to be up after this season. And the way that they were talking, her and Angel, they was kind of like Angel threw out there, like, if we don't get what we want, we gonna strike. Just because we riding the wave of this popularity, we want our piece of the pie as far as our salaries. Isn't measuring up to what the revenue is being brought in. I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you think the WNBA star players should they think about striking after this season?
I think what Andrew's, alluding to, I mean, she's right and then wrong at the same time, because there are some players that don't share the same sentiment that they are just gonna just strike or end their season or whatever. And I think that Angel shouldn't be the one that's leading that charge, or because she's coming off her rookie season. It ended in an injury. It didn't make the playoffs. The coach got fired. I don't think that it's a good idea for her to get on a podcast and publicly say something like that. I'm not really a big fan of these player podcasts anyway. I'm old school. I
Me
think
neither. I'm with you.
just
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Mhm.
if just we're talking about the Cowboys, I mean, Michael Parsons, I hate his podcast. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
We'll,
cannot
we'll,
say.
we'll, we'll, we'll we'll get into that. We'll get into that. I'm with you. We on the same page on that for real. But it is interesting. But Nafisa Collier though, she was on one. I think a couple of days before that, but she kind of broke it down, and I understood because basically Nafisa, I believe, she said that they're not looking to make the type of money that the NBA men make. She said, I know we're not going to make that kind of money. She said that basically we want a bigger percentage shared when it comes to the revenue. That totally makes sense. I believe the men get a 50% share of the revenue in the NBA. From what reports I've seen, that the women only get a 10% share of the WNBA revenue. Is that correct, Corey? I'm not. I don't
Yes,
know if those numbers.
it's very close to that 10% mark. I'm not sure exactly the
Mhm.
number, but it's very very low as far as the disparity from what
Yeah.
the NBA. Obviously, they're not going to make NBA type money just because they're not that popular for big donors to just unload a bunch of cash, but they're getting there. And I think that
Right.
right now, let's just see how plays out. Cameron Brink had made a comment about this as well. She said that she makes about $75,000, which she alluded that it's low, but she's just happy to play basketball and be able to do something that she loves to do. Obviously, Cameron Brink comes from money. She had money before she even got into the WNBA. Her family has access to some money, but I just don't think. I think it almost looks it's kind of tacky for a player to I'm gonna strike or whatever. I mean, it's getting there. Like it's like I can see it's growing. I can see it's getting better and things like that. Let's just see how it plays out. And I know that I'm not in that position to be like, yeah, it's okay. Just go ahead and go with the flow. But I understand where the women are coming from because it's been a topic of discussion for a few years now, and it's bad just because they have a great product. More people are watching. They should be able to enjoy that benefit to take back to their families and things like that. That's so they eliminate going overseas. That's why they had to unrival. To be able to have more
Right.
opportunities, have access to money and things like that. So the opportunities are there. It's getting there, but I just not a big fan of players publicly saying what they're gonna go on strike or not play games or whatever because of that. Because you got endorsements, you got ways to make more money. It's more opportunities to make more money out there. Just continue on trying to get better, get your team to the playoffs. Then maybe we can hear about you saying that you want to strike or whatever. I didn't like the comment. Just in a nutshell, I didn't like it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, maybe like you said, I think maybe the mess. I get the message, but maybe it shouldn't have came from the messenger in a way. Maybe she wasn't the one that should be saying that. If Asia Wilson or someone like that could say that, then I think that'll give it a little bit more teeth, in my opinion. And I'm not dissing Angel Reese because I like her. I like her. I think she needs to work on her offensive game, obviously, but I like her. I've always liked her. I think she's a dog when it comes to playing defense and all the other intangibles that she got. But sometimes, I think, sometimes she may say the wrong thing at the wrong time too. But she's not the only athlete to do that because we got one that plays for your Dallas Cowboys, and that's a good way to switch gears. We're gonna talk about NFL free agency, but since my good brother Corey I'm gonna let you know he's a big time Cowboys fan, and obviously I'm a cheesehead, and I gets the business too. Let's talk about NFL free agency. What we got going on, specifically your Dallas Cowboys, Corey. What's your thoughts on where they are as of today?
Well, let's just talk about just how they are making these kind of questionable moves, I believe. going
Mhm.
into this season. Obviously, they lost a lot, and I don't feel like the Cowboys actually replaced what they've lost. They're collecting a lot of former first rounders, and I can understand what they're trying to do, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You don't have any sexy names on that free agency list that they got, but what I think that the Cowboys are trying to do is, put them in a new system. They got a new head coach, going to be the third defensive coordinator in 2 years, 3 years. Um, since Dan Quinn left, it's going to be the third one. They're getting Matt Eberflus.
Right.
He wasn't.
Right.
He didn't. I mean, I don't want to bash anybody. He's on the Cowboys team, but we know what
Yeah,
happened.
you can bash it. Hey, you can bash it. Don't hold your tongue. You can bash
Well, I mean, you know
it.
all together by Eberflus. I mean, your
Yeah.
Packers just put
Yeah,
foots in
we know.
it. So I mean, I'm not really excited
Right.
about what Eberflus
Yeah.
is, going to be doing. I'm not really excited. I mean, the draft is actually
Mhm.
going to be my key focus. What are they going to address there? Obviously, we need help on the offensive line. We did get some defensive help. We got two linebackers from the Titans, and I believe we got another from
Right.
the Chargers. Um, I'm just not impressed with what the Cowboys have done this offseason. And, Dak Prescott is going to be someone that I'm going to be really looking at. He's a cornerstone to what we're trying to do. I mean, if you don't have a great quarterback and a leader, then it's going to be very tough to
It's
win games.
Yeah, and you spoke of the losses. You got the Cowboys lost Jordan Lewis to the Jags. They lost Chauncey Golston, defensive end, to the Giants. Chuma Udoga, tackle, to the Jags, and defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence to the Seahawks. And let's transition to that. He gave a parting shot to the Cowboys on his way out the door. Basically said he loved Dallas and he has a home there, but he know that he would never win a Super Bowl there. And Mr. Michael Parsons, he felt some type of way, and they had a little Twitter spat about that. But did DeMarcus Lawrence tell the truth, in your opinion, Corey? Will this
Marcus
team
Lawrence,
ever get back to the Super Bowl?
he's dead to me. I'm done with DeMarcus Lawrence. Um, I mean, I've been a Cowboy fan for over 30 years, and I mean, okay, let me be honest. He might
uh,
have spoke a little truth in that.
I can see the pain on your face, brother. I can see
But
the pain on your
the
face.
Marcus Lawrence really hasn't really added any value over the last couple of years. I mean, like
That's a,
you
that's
think
a
about
valid point.
you
Yeah,
think about some of the games that he's been in. How many times you heard them to call his name in a positive manner? I mean,
yeah,
the last few seasons he was hurt more than he was available to play. I
yeah.
mean,
That's valid. I agree.
I
Yeah.
mean, you wasn't a contributor. You was part of the problem.
I can see, but that's a valid point. Well, my is yeah. Your best availability is what they always say, and if you're not available, then it's pretty tough for you to throw rocks after you going out the door. Well, another former Cowboys had some shots to throw at the Cowboys too. What's his name? Ward, the cornerback that just left the 49ers, Shardavius, I think that's his name, Shardavius Ward, just signed that 3-year, $54 million deal with the Colts. I did not realize he signed as a free agent with the Cowboys back in 2018, and they traded him to Kansas City right before the season started. He ended up playing, winning the Super Bowl with them, had a pretty successful career thus far. And he said on a Colts podcast that the Cowboys make dumb decisions. Is there some truth in what Mr. Ward said? In your opinion, Corey, do the Cowboys make some dumb decisions when it comes to
I would say
personnel?
I would say questionable. I would say they make a lot
Okay.
of questionable decisions. I think I want to be because I mean this is a team that you're gonna see me rooting for, that you're gonna see me,
Mm-hmm.
excited when they win games. and I'm going to be right there with them when they make the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. So I can't sit here and say they're making dumb decisions in one side of my mouth, and then when they start doing well, I can't jump back on and say, "Oh, man, the Cowboys did great and did this." I would say questionable. I don't know exactly what is going on with the Cowboys when it comes to some of these personnel. I mean, I probably wouldn't have done half of the things that the Cowboys would have, but I don't make that kind of money to make those kind of decisions. I mean, we can sit here and say what the
Right.
Cowboys should have done, what the Cowboys should do, and things like that. But they have, people that are in their positions for a reason, and the only thing I can do is just trust that they know what the vision that what they're gonna do. Right now, it doesn't look like we're in a position to compete for anything. I mean, we're not even in a position to compete in church league right now.
Well, I do. I'll say it, Corey. I think they make question. No, you said questionable. I think they make. I think some of the decisions they make is not thought out. I think they do make dumb decisions, and I would say this about owner and general manager Jerry Jones. For a man that's known to be a shrewd businessman, that is known to be, he made his money in the oil business, so he was a risk taker. Obviously, he doesn't take a lot of risk when it comes to free agency. That team, they depend on building, and that's fine. They depend on building their team through the draft. I get that, but sometimes you got to change it up, man. And I mean, let's be honest. Okay, you had what 3-12 win seasons under Mike McCarthy. That's all well and good, but at the end of the day, you ain't even make it to the divisional round. So I mean, I think you got all this money to spend because they got some money to spend. Corey, they got some money to spend, and I'm looking at these signings like you said.
Dak is taking up a lot of what they
need
have.
to address. He is, but
contract.
But other teams manipulate the salary cap. You know what I'm saying? They find a way to spray that money.
They got to pay.
I'm just figuring out. Yeah, they got to pay him. Well, again, part of this is on them. They should have extended Dak in that fourth year, but they didn't. And now they paying the cost. They waited to the last minute. So again, questionable, like you say, questionable decisions. I always tell people I'm not a Cowboys hater. I just call it like I see it. Again, I covered this team when I was in the business up close and personal. So I know I covered them when the goddamn Chan Gailey was the head coach, when Dave Campo was the head coach. So I've seen it, Corey. I've seen it. And I'm like, they ain't doing too much better than they were doing in the 2000s at this point. They've won a few games. So, but again, one thing about the Cowboys, they're always gonna be a team that everybody talks about. No matter if you love them or hate them, they're always going to be talked about. Let's see. Now you about to have me take you off this podcast, Corey. Here we go with that America's team stuff. All right, man. Before I let you get out of here, I gotta ask you about your Lakers, man. Your thoughts on your Lakers? They took a beating last night. I saw to the Bulls, but what's your thoughts on the Lakers, man, and that big trade?
We should have had this podcast talking about the Lakers before last night.
Okay, but I want to get your thoughts. Yeah, okay, I want to get your thoughts. The big trade, Luka, and all that. So, what's your thoughts on the Lakers and where they are? What you think?
I'm gonna share with you something that I haven't really told most people. My inner circle knows, about how I talk sports and things like that. And I just, kind of say some of the craziest things, but they have some meaning behind it. And I looked at the Lakers the last couple of years with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and I was tired of looking at it. I don't think it was set up to compete. I think that the championship that they did win, nobody respected it at all. Nobody really gave it any kind of merit or anything like that. And I think that once we actually had a full NBA season and we just kept on getting bounced out of the playoffs, our inability to compete against teams like the Nuggets, like that. And I didn't think that we was in position to do anything with the team the way it was constructed. And so I have a text thread with my dad, my cousin, my brother, and my wife. where I've said that the Lakers should move on from Anthony Davis and try to see if they can get Luka Doncic to the Lakers. And I said this,
Whoa. Are you
and
serious?
I have proof, and I have the year. Like when I said it just last year. I said they need to fire Darvin
Right.
Ham. They need to trade Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, and I think that we'll be in a better position. I also said they need to get rid of LeBron James too. That hasn't happened yet.
Did you say this on a podcast or you just were in conversation? Is there any audio of this?
I have a text message.
Okay.
I have a text message, and it has when I said it, what year, what date, everything. And I wasn't surprised because I was like, this is exactly what I wanted him to do in the first place. Because I'm looking at Luka and what his impact is. I know what he is and I know what he isn't. He's not going to be a defensive stalwart or nothing like that. I don't know if you watched the game last night. I mean, he got annihilated on defense.
He got
he's a cone on defense. But his offensive mind, his facilitating mindset and things like that, oh my gosh. I mean, it's just going to be so much better when they actually get a actual big man. I like what they're doing, but I just think that they need an actual bona fide big man. I like Jackson Hayes and I like his resurgence and what he's been able to do with Luka. But just think what that team will actually look like when they get the big man that they're actually looking for. Jackson Hayes looks like an all-star with Luka there now. Not saying he's a bad player, but he might need to gain a little weight. He's getting, he get pushed around a lot by bigger centers and things like that. But I mean, he's athletic, crazy athleticism.
Right.
He's that lob threat that Luka wanted. And you just seen just a little preview of it. And if you look at what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, he was like a hedge over the city. Like, if you think about his impact on the city, I mean, you couldn't go to Dallas without seeing a billboard or people talking about what they're going to be looking like in the next few years. This was a very, very now you talk about dumb decisions. That was not smart at all for the Dallas Mavericks to trade such a generational talented player of all to the Lakers. The Lakers has always prosperity. No other team wants to do business with the Lakers like that. And it's just I don't understand what I don't care what Luka, what they say about he got fat, he's still productive.
He drinks, he likes to drink beer. But I mean, I think that's part of his culture too. I think, everybody's talking about Michael Finley taking that beer out of his hand after I think that was with the Western Conference Finals, taking his beer. But that's what they drink here. So I thought that was a big deal. Now, obviously, I think Nico Harrison, that trade is probably going to get him fired. But again, I don't know. The ownership group of this Mavericks, I don't really think they really care about basketball anyway, this new ownership group. I think they're more worried about trying to get a casino built and a new stadium built.
That's what I'm hearing.
In my opinion.
That's what I've been hearing as well. And I'm not sure how much truth to that it is, but they got money and they didn't want to pay Luka. That's all it boiled down to. They just did not want to pay.
Well, that too. That super max, they didn't want to give him that. Yeah,
they couldn't stomach that. I mean, they got all this money for a reason, and they didn't get it by splurging and spending it, especially on people that they feel like they have like questionable intangibles, questionable integrity, and things like that, and it doesn't fit their culture or whatever. Fine. I mean, if you don't want to pay him, you don't have to pay him. But the way they did it, oh my gosh, that in the middle of the night, nobody knew anything was going on. It was, I was up late anyway, and I got the text message from my son, and then I saw it all over everybody was talking about it. It was just in the middle.
I thought it was fake. I thought it was fake. I didn't think it was real. Yeah.
I wasn't surprised because, like I told you before, that's what I wanted them to do. But I knew, and like in the back of my mind, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it was gonna happen. Like I didn't predict it was actually gonna happen. I'm just talking. I think that the Lakers should have traded for Luka Doncic if they want to find somebody to kind of like a stopgap in between LeBron and what's next or whatever, like a bridge.
LeBron and
Right. So, and I think that was, I mean, I'm happy, but last night, I mean, they took a beating last night. They got to readjust and see what happened. I mean, you're gonna have games like that,
right?
I still think that they're gonna
be
able to compete in the playoffs this year, and go pretty far. I mean, they've been killing Denver.
Yeah, my good brother. Before I let you go, Corey, my good brother Orlando Kaiser, my barber, he says he's going to have a press conference talking about that he's leaving the Cowboys after this year. Will you hold a press conference if and when you decide to leave the Cowboys alone, Corey? Will you hold a press conference?
I would never leave the Cowboys.
Yeah, Orlando, my good brother Corey said. X Harrison said he's never leaving the Cowboys.
I don't think.
All right, man.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you the reason why. I'm gonna leave with this. My grandfather, God rest his soul, he passed away in 97. And he would every Sunday we would get up and watch the Cowboys play. And obviously back in the 90s, around that time when he was alive, they were rolling. Like the Cowboys was the it. They was legit a powerhouse then. But my poor grandfather left me with this burden. I don't know what to do. It's like he's left and I don't know. I can't leave them. But I have not inherited none of that prosperity when he left. It's like when he left, that culture left. And he's not here to guide me. If he says, Corey, it's okay to let him alone. And like give me some kind of sign that go ahead and let him go.
Sign that you'll leave him alone.
And that's the only way. Gotcha. And I have not received that yet.
Well, Corey, I appreciate you coming on with me, my good brother. If you want to follow Corey, check him out on YouTube, his Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. Please go subscribe to my good brother's channel. And we're going to talk again because the draft is at Lambeau Field in Green Bay coming up in about a month. Cowboys got the number 12 pick. Yeah, once they pick, I want to get your reaction, all Cowboy fans. I did read this morning that they may be leaning toward a wide receiver at that 12th pick, Corey. So I definitely want to get your reaction in this upcoming NFL draft, good brother. You want Genty? All right.
I want Genty, but they either going to do something crazy. They probably need an offensive lineman though. They're probably going to go offensive lineman.
That's right. Oh, don't be surprised at them trading down either. You know, they good at trading down too. So just to collect some picks. So we'll see. But I'm definitely gonna contact you because I want to have you on again talking about that. All right.
You know how to find me.
All right, my good brother. I'm gonna let you get back to. I know where to find you again. That was my good brother Corey. Hey, brother, appreciate you, man. Much love. Have a good one. All right, that was my good brother Corey X Harrison of the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to his channel on YouTube, please. Go check him out. He actually follows the WNBA. He's a correspondent with them. He follows the Las Vegas Aces and the Dallas Wings. So go check him out. Before I get out of here, what happened in 2023-2024 playoffs versus the 49ers? You're talking about the Cowboys, I'm sure. We know they didn't win. So anyway, but before I get out of here, I gotta pay homage to one of the greatest heavyweight boxers to ever lace the gloves up, two-time heavyweight champ, Olympic gold medalist at the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City, and was one of the fighters involved in one of the greatest fights ever in boxing history, the Rumble in the Jungle, when he and the greatest, the late Muhammad Ali, got it on in Zaire. They made a movie out of it called When We Were Kings. I believe it was released on Netflix. We got the sad news that the big guy, the guy that made the George Foreman grill, George Foreman, passed away on Friday night at the age of 76, surrounded by his family. His cause of death at this time, we do not know. But again, the boxing world, the world in general, lost a big man, a great man with a big personality, who was born in a little small town in East Texas, Marshall, Texas. I'm actually located in Tyler, which is about 45 minutes west of Marshall, his birthplace. He would grow up in I believe the 5th ward of Houston, Texas. He was getting in trouble, had anger issues, and he would eventually join the Job Corps. Then the rest is history. He would become the oldest heavyweight champ ever in boxing history when he beat Michael Moore in 1994 at the tender age of 45. Again, he had some of the great matches in the 70s with Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, and on and on. So again, we won't definitely want to say rest in power, champ. There won't be another George Foreman, but there's some George Foremans that will carry his legacy on, because he had 12 kids, 7 daughters, and 5 sons. One of his daughters already passed away, but all his sons are named George, if you did not know. So the name George Foreman will live on. Again, rest in power, big guy. Begin on your peaceful journey. And just another little tidbit that I want to give you guys. We got the greatest Muhammad Ali is going on. We got Joe Frazier is going on as well. And now the big guy, George Foreman, is going on to paradise. All 3 of those heavyweight champs, 3 of the greatest to ever do it, all of them were born in the month of January. George Foreman was born January 10th, 1949. Joe Frazier was born January the 12th, 1944. And the greatest, Muhammad Ali, he was born January the 17th, 1942. So go figure. All 3 of the greatest heavyweights to ever do it were all born in the month of January, with their born days some days apart and born some years apart. And they all were Capricorn men, like your good brother, Kendrick, the sports guy, who, by the way, my born day is January the 19th. So again, rest in power, George Foreman. You would truly be missed. So I want to thank everybody for popping in, watching me today. Again, I am Kendrick, the sports guy, with your sports show. You can catch me here every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, where we give you a little bit of sports of what happened during the week and talk about other things. So again, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I hope you all have a great week. I am Kendrick, the sports guy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Kendrick Sports Social, as well as TFG Sports Media on YouTube. And make sure you follow me on Facebook as well, Kendrick Sports Social at Kendrick Rolon Henderson, and on Instagram, Kendrick1969, and on TikTok, Kendrick Henderson 51. So again, you guys have a good one. I am out. Peace.